And one day during prayer, he heard an audible voice. He heard, "My son, I will heal you." Hello, my name is Tim, and I'm from Oklahoma. And I'd just like to share a testimony of how God did a miracle in my family. There was a time when my father served in the army in the Soviet Union, and during his service there was a nuclear chemical explosion that covered many soldiers with radiation. And he became very sick. He went to Moscow to get checked out by the doctors, by experts. And they told him that they can't do anything about him because the radiation has been eating all his internal organs, and he was on the verge of death. And they pretty much sent him home to die. He came home to his wife, explained the situation, that there's no doctor, no medicine, nothing that they can do to help his physical condition. Their only hope and faith was in Jesus. So he started getting closer to Jesus. He started repenting of all his sins. He started reconciling with people whom he could have hurt in the past. He started to do everything that he could possibly do that God was putting on his heart. He was reading scripture as much as he could. He was reading scripture where Jesus was healing people, how he was resurrecting people from the dead. He was quoting scripture that by Jesus' stripes we are healed. And he was praying every day for long periods of time. He would even pray so long that he would lose conscience. He was battling and fighting for his life. So much that his mom, my mom, would pick him up and put him on his bed, and he would wake up and keep praying and praying and praying. And one day during prayer, he heard an audible voice. He heard, "My son, I will heal you." And that really strengthened his faith. And he kept praying. You know, this happened month after month, month after month. And this was happening over the course of half a year. And his friends would come and say their goodbyes because he just became skinnier and skinnier. And he was on the verge of death already. But one day he got a phone call from his friend that there were going to be evangelicals that were going to visit a city, and they're going to preach the gospel and pray for the sick, and he invited him. And my father decided to go to this evangelical service to receive healing. And on the very last day of this evangelical service, he was crying out to the Lord. He said, "Lord, I need complete healing. Please heal me." And the Lord heard his cry, heard his prayer, and he said, "Lord, if you heal me, I promise I will preach the gospel wherever you will send me. Wherever you will send me, Lord, I will preach of your name. I will preach salvation." And during prayer, a pastor comes up and says, "There are 5 people that need healing in this auditorium. Who are these people?" And my dad's hand raised up, and this pastor started praying fervently for these people. And during the prayer, this pastor says these words. He says, "Jesus is coming up to you right now, and he is healing your liver." And my dad felt like the hand of Jesus coming into his liver and touching his liver and healing his liver. He said, "Jesus is healing your stomach." He felt another hand coming into his stomach and healing his stomach. He said, "Jesus is healing your lungs." And my dad felt like someone was operating on his lungs. He said, "Jesus is healing your tumors." And my dad put his hand on his tumors, and they were going away instantly right under his arm. They were like dissolving right there and then. He said, "Jesus is healing you 100% from the top of your head to the bottom of your toes." And he felt like the power of God coming upon him even more. And he felt like his old blood, the blood that was infected with radiation, was leaving, and new blood was coming in like a blood transfusion right there in the church service. He explained that it was a supernatural surgical operation right there in the church service. And that day he got up and he felt like a brand new man, like God restored his internal organs. And to this day he is still alive and healthy and preaching the gospel wherever Jesus sends him.